So here, I'm going to show you a miracle. The little chick, little egg you see is this big. And what we're looking at, these little black spots, chick hatching. That chick has to get strong enough in that egg to break the shell and get itself exposed so that the mother can come in and feed it for the first time. The first feeding initiates the life of these tiny flying pollinators that will go on to strengthen the food chain that we all depend upon. Can you speed it up a little bit?
Just fast forward it?
Yeah.
Out there?
Yeah. You can see the little chick starting to break out. Let's bring it right back just a little bit. You're going to see the mother feed it for the first time here. She has to get that beak down into their throats. And the chicks instinctively know when the mother comes in to raise their heads and to open their beaks. And she deposits a bit of food into their crop. You can see just how tiny they are there.
Yeah. Excuse me a section. Eric, would you like to take the mic with you?
Sure.
As we're speaking, so you can walk around.
Sure. So, this is a nest that was in the front yard of my house. And this bird is Solo. The mother is named Solo. Solo is the chick that hatched in the backyard of my house last year and is one of the characters in the film The Bird in My Backyard. So she's about a year old and this is her first nest. So these chicks did quite well in the front yard. It was really unexpected. It was directly over top of my car. And it takes about 18 to 20 days for the eggs to hatch, and then they're in the nest itself being fed by mother for about 21 days to 28 days. In this case, it was about 25. And what determines the length of time is the amount of food, the condition of the weather, and all those external factors. What you're seeing now is little Avro. Avro fledged second and had to make her way out through the bush to be able to get up to a little bit higher perch. While they're doing that, mother will find them and feed them every 15 to 20 minutes or so. This commitment to feeding her chicks exists right from the time they hatch until about 2 weeks after when they've fledged. It's every 20 minutes or half an hour, and as they get near the end of that 2 weeks after they've fledged, the mother will slow down with the feeding and she shows them how to eat. The chicks don't make a sound in the nest at all until they fledge, and once they fledge, they make this really high-pitched peeping sound. And you may hear it a few times here, but oh no, I think it's too hard to hear. But it's a very high-pitched peeping sound. After they've fledged and they start to learn how to feed for themselves, they actually lose the ability to peep. So they lose their voice, so the language that they used for asking for food doesn't exist, and they have to take care of themselves. Little Avro hung around my backyard for quite some time and was quite okay with it, with me being close. And in fact, this is me bringing up a flower with some sugar water on it for Avro to feed. Now, when hummingbirds learn how to eat, they learn by example. So here comes Solo to show Avro that this is an okay flower to eat. And then she sits beside him. Now, she won't feed him because this is the part where Avro has to learn how to eat for himself. That little flower was off a bush that was only about 5 feet away and quite in bloom, but Avro wouldn't go there. But the next day, Avro was in that bush. And that's how little hummingbirds begin their life as pollinators. Now, I don't know about you, but I usually, when I do something that's as intricate as feeding myself, I need some direction. But these little birds do all this sort of thing just by instinct. They have no instruction manual, so everything just occurs. I have no idea how they do it, but they're fascinating little birds. Let's go to the first one that you played there. I'm going to show you another little video here. I have filmed so many complete nests and families together. I put together a few films that document what they're doing. So this is a film, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I'll let's try.
And if you hold the mic a little closer.
I'm gonna turn down the music.
No, it's fine. Thank you. There's a few things in there that I'll point out, I don't really like to narrate my little films because most of the time people can just see what's going on, and what I say doesn't really matter much. It's really about the bird and about how they develop and what they do. This particular set, I didn't think they were going to make it because we had such a snowfall at that time. So it takes about 8 weeks or so to put together a film like this because I have to go back every day, and that's just the time period. So when I see things occurring like the snowstorm, you know, it's very difficult for me to continue to film because I'm just going to see dead birds. But it wasn't the case, and they continue to surprise me. These little birds are so resilient and so tough that when I think that everything is done, they still come back and they still surprise me. And I'm going to show you another one with Bailey now, please. It's not that one. It's maybe the next
The
one.
next one, they're just very finicky, these
Yeah.
kids.
When I first saw Bailey, this is the first video I took of her. She was hovering on the other side of her nest to feed her chick. But something wasn't quite right. I could tell that there was something going on that I hadn't seen before here. And it's going to take a moment, but you'll see it too. She has a dog. This chick is about 4 or 5 days old, and I can tell by the way the beak points, the way the beak has grown. So it wasn't until Bailey changed ankles and I slowed down the film that I could see she had a broken leg. So despite having a broken leg, she still built a nest, laid eggs, and had a chick. It's a very difficult thing for a hummingbird to build a nest in the first place. But to do it with one leg, to me, sounds impossible. I'm going to ask you to speed it up, Amanda. You can see that she did get the chick out, and it was quite successful. One of the things that she did, which was very unusual, was a downward, backwards flying spiral. This is the only bird I've ever seen do that, and I wondered what could possibly be causing her to do that. I talked to a lot of people and they said, well, she's probably hunting for bugs. This is just her way of looking around, or maybe she's looking for another place to nest. But that's not the case. What's going on here? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go back. A little bit further.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry. All right, we can move it up further.
Sorry.
It's hard for me to do this without
Yeah.
hurting myself.
Where
but
would you like
that's
it to be?
good. We'll just go from there.
Just from there?
Yep. The reason she was actually doing the backwards, downward spiral is because birds have to preen in order to keep their feathers clean enough to fly. And that can look like scratching, or it can look like preening with their beak. But she couldn't preen with her good leg because she was standing on it. So she had to fly. And in flying, she then had to scratch underneath her wing to get that side clean. And so that was the reason for the backwards, downward spiral. So shortly after her other chick fledged, she built another nest. And I was lucky to get there right at the beginning. And she chose a perch that gave her a crutch where she could put her little leg. And that gave her more support to start to build the nest. It takes about 400 visits for a hummingbird to build a nest to get it ready for eggs. So they use spider web, fluff, little pieces of moss, lichen, and they weave it all together, normally with 2 legs, but in this case, just with her beak and whatever she could do with her other leg. But it was quite difficult for her. But she still laid eggs. And this is kind of, what you're seeing here is a little bit of a byproduct of having a sticky beak. Because they do drink from hummingbird feeders, that sugar water gives them a little bit of a sticky beak, and that can make it difficult, like in this case, to get little bits of fluff removed from their beak. Normally they would brush it off. Obviously she can't do that. On the second nest, I got to film her, but the eggs fell out of the nest, so she didn't get to have those chicks. Oh yeah, she just brought something into the nest now again. Good. So this is the third nest that I've seen her build. Last year's nest, the first one is almost directly below this one. So this is the third nest, and we got to watch her start to build that as well. But unfortunately, the eggs also fell out of that. So it's a little bit of a shame, but I learn a lot about these birds when these sort of things happen. But it doesn't really deter Bailey. She still continues to look for more places to build her nest. And she's still in the community, so she's just a little bit harder to find at this point. Usually when they build a nest, they'll stay in one particular area, usually about 50 feet or 100 feet around there. When they don't have a nest, they're a little bit more migrant or transient. These are the pieces of her eggs that were down at the bottom of the tree. And you can see they're exactly that size. But she keeps going on. Bailey is still out there and doing her hummingbird thing. Amanda?
Sorry,
Can we
I'm so involved in looking at
Can we switch to sugar and spice? Have you got that one in
I
line?
do, I think that might be the last one. Dick, do I
Okay.
just have to drag this icon up to the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does bad things. I have to get down here, so.
Okay.
I think sugar and spice is the last one.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for your patience. We're almost there. There we are.
Sorry if I brought you down with Bailey, but the real message about Bailey is how resilient they are. Even though she's lost 2 nests, she continues to do more, and she will. This is a family in my yard, Sugar, Spice, and Nice. Usually there's two, sometimes there's one. Yeah. Mother encourages them to fly. That high pitched is the peak. The other chick is right beside us there, out of frame. This is learning how to eat. She's teaching it now to catch flies by going off and catching a fly and coming back and not sharing them. And he learned well. There we go. Thank you.